As a leader, I think it's crucial and really imperative that you give, especially if you're the leader of the organization, the leader of the department. Your appreciation, you giving words of encouragement, words of appreciation, words of gratitude are going to go a long, long way. Don't forget in this giving holiday to give to yourself. I want you to be aware that if you give anything with strings attached, that's not love, that's transactional. And what we want to do as leaders is be transformational, not transactional.
Welcome to the Leadership and Love podcast. We will cover leadership, mindset, personal development, and sales and marketing. You will experience thought-provoking conversations with both nationally and internationally recognized leaders. Our goal is to inspire you and deliver actionable items that you can implement that are going to help you accelerate your growth. Get ready to discover the magic and the power when you lead with love.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Leadership and Love, the podcast that helps you as a leader give you actionable items that you can use to spread love in the world while you lead your teams, organizations, families, and anybody else out there that you're leading. So today, this episode is going to drop in November, which is going to lead us into Thanksgiving. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is giving. As a leader, I think it's crucial and really imperative that you give. And I want to start first off by talking about the importance of authentic giving. One of the things that I want you to keep in mind is don't do lip service to somebody because it's not doing them any good and it's not doing you any good. So as an example, if you're going to compliment somebody, you really want to do it from a place of genuineness and what's true for you. So often, if I see a man in a shirt and tie, and I love the shirt and tie combination, I will say, hey, I really love that shirt and tie. Or if it's a woman, I might compliment her on her hair. But what I'm doing is I'm really picking something that I truly like or appreciate or find attractive or interesting or whatever it may be. Don't do it just to do it. Don't tell somebody you like their shirt and tie when you really don't. You want to find something, and on some people you have to look pretty hard, but you can find something on anybody to appreciate and give them a compliment. Give them some kudos on how they just did something. So the first thing I want to share with this idea of giving is always do it from your heart. The second thing I want to share about giving is give without any expectation. Often we give expecting something in return, and that's not really giving, that's a transaction. And this is so true in most relationships, isn't it? A lot of people will give you something thinking that they want or going to get something in return. And this is so true with love. I believe unconditional love is when we give and we have no attachment to whatever's going to happen. We just give because we want to give. And so when you think about your giving this holiday season and all year round, which is another topic in just a second here, but when you give, I want you to give from a place of not expecting anything in return and not making that giving transactional. This is very powerful in personal relationships and also in your romantic relationships with that significant other. When you give something or you say the words, I love you, but that's not unconditional love, that's conditional love. So I really want you to focus on the ability to give, one, from your heart, two, from a place of not expecting anything coming back. You're just giving to give. One of the things I learned a long time ago, if somebody comes to you and they need to borrow money or they want to borrow money, and it's a friend, a relative, whoever it is, and you're going to do it, give them the money with no expectation of it coming back. If it comes back, then the relationship's going to stay intact. If you set up some sort of agreement where they're going to pay you back and they don't, you could blow up that relationship and have it, and you might not ever recover from it. So if somebody's asking for money and you can afford it, then just give them the money and send them on their way with no expectation that it's coming back or that they owe you anything. If it's a large amount of money and you want to set up some sort of contract, that's another deal. But I'm talking, somebody comes and needs $100, give them the $100 if you can afford it. Next thing I want to talk about is, it's funny to me how giving seems to be around specific events or times. Harry Chapin, who was a great singer-songwriter and a hero of mine, and I think a great role model as a leader, he did so much for the World Hunger Organization because he knew how tough it was to go without food. And so at Thanksgiving, they'd have these food drives and they give away free meals. And Harry Chapin would ask, well, that's great, but what are we going to do for these people for the rest of the year? So when it comes to your giving, I want you to think about being a giver who gives year round. One of the things that I do as a business consultant, one of my goals for all my clients and truly for every business owner is to be so successful, so profitable that you can give to those who are less fortunate from some of the profits and the success of your business. One of the things I do on a regular basis is I give to a local food pantry. Much like Harry Chapin, it's a cause close to my heart, but it's also, I've had days when I served in the Marines where I went 4, 5, 6 days without food. And you'll be amazed at what you'll eat after 4 or 5 days without any food. And so that's near and dear to me, but I want your business and my clients, I want them to be so successful that they can donate money to those that are less fortunate than those of us that have all these luxuries that we live in. So what I want to talk about is, in Thanksgiving and holidays is a great time, if you're a business owner, a business leader, to give back to those who have helped you through the course of the year and will continue in the following or preceding year. So one of the things I want you to know is that this is not a hard thing to do. So I'm going to talk about individual giving to begin with. One of the things that you can do, and I love it when you can go away with an actionable item. So I'm going to give you a couple individual giving things right off the bat, and neither one of them are going to cost you any money. The first one is, on a regular basis, usually every morning, I will randomly think of somebody or scroll through my contacts, and I will send a text. I'll send a text to that person, tell them I'm thinking about them, or that I appreciate them, or that I'm blessed to have them in my life. Whatever that may be, I'm sending that text out. The next thing I want you to challenge you to do is, through the course of your day, just compliment, appreciate, or be grateful for one person. There's lots of research around gratitude and what that'll do for you, and I've talked about gratitude in some other episodes. But for this episode, I want you to understand how powerful your giving is, especially if you're the leader of the organization, the leader of the department. Your appreciation, you giving words of encouragement, words of appreciation, words of gratitude are going to go a long, long way. One of the things people talk about is the emotional bank account. And if you're unfamiliar with this, there's an emotional bank account that you have with every person in your life. And the question is it full of positive stuff, or is it in the negative numbers because you've been so negative with that person, so critical, so demanding, so arrogant, so rude, so mean, whatever that is. If you're in negative numbers in that emotional bank account, the fastest way to get back into positive numbers is, again, giving them appreciation, giving them gratitude, giving them support. And again, all of that doesn't cost you anything. Very, very powerful. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about in this is, don't forget in this giving holiday to give to yourself. What do you need? There's a dear friend of mine, Tiffany Peterson, and she said, her question is, what do you need, sweetheart? And yes, if you're a guy, you could use the same words because you're a sweetheart. You won't have to tell your friends or your buddies so they make fun of you. But ask yourself, what do you need? And then listen, and whatever you need, give it to yourself. Maybe it's some time off. Maybe it's to drink more water. Maybe it's to get back to your exercise program. Maybe it's to get back to reading. Maybe it's going and treating yourself to something. But whatever that is, make sure that you give to yourself. And again, we often think that, that we've got to get all this done. And if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. That list of BS goes on and on and on. But make sure that you give to yourself. I recently bought a new guitar. So guitars, if you don't know, are my thing. But one of the things I want to share is that when I bought that guitar, I had waited for it. I'd picked it out, but it's exactly what I wanted. And so I don't spend a whole lot of money on myself. I do a lot of things for myself for self-care that don't cost me any money. Meditate, exercise, pray, journal, yoga, those things. But when I treat myself, it's usually a guitar, and it's usually something that I've thought about, picked it out, planned it, and those kinds of things. But my point is I give to myself. And I give to myself something that really matters to me, because nobody else can pick that gift for you better than you. So why not do it for you? Next thing I want to talk about is the ability to give to businesses, associates, vendors, anybody that's supporting you, whether that's the companies that you're doing business with, the company that you might be working for. I want you to think about, what can you give them that's going to be of value to them? I'll give you an example. In one of my businesses, Sharp Auto Body, one of the things I do on a regular basis, I do work for a number of dealerships. And what I do is I go in and I buy them lunch, and I'll order pizzas. One of the dealerships, I ordered like 50 pizzas from this pizza place, went in and delivered 50 pizzas, water, drinks, the whole shebang. And so I was giving back to somebody who was giving business to me. It's a great thing to do. But again, and all the people in the dealership really appreciate it. But you want to give something that you've put some thought into, that you know is going to make a difference, or it's going to matter to them. I could have dropped off a handful of flipping pens and Post-it notes, but that didn't have the same meaning, or wouldn't have landed the same way that buying them lunch and bringing all those pizzas in did. So this is a very powerful tool, the power of giving. And really, it's what unconditional love is all about. I started this podcast because I saw what corporate America was doing, specifically insurance companies, around what I call their scorched earth mentality. These insurance companies, I get a lot of exposure and experience and interaction with them through my business at the body shop. And it's one of the things that, again, launched this podcast, because they come from this place of scorched earth mentality, where they don't care about anything or anybody except a thing called profit. And again, that's certainly not love. That's greed, that's control, that's all the things that leaders who want to lead with love. It's the opposite of how we want to live and lead our lives and our teams. So that's what motivated me to start this. So I want you to be aware that if you give anything with strings attached, that's not love, that's transactional. And what we want to do as leaders is be transformational, not transactional. And the easiest, fastest, most powerful way to be transformational and not transactional is to give from a place of love with no strings attached, no attachment. Don't give it expecting something back. Don't give it thinking that somebody now owes you something because you gave them something. That's not how this thing called living works. We want to get this thing going on, because trust me when I tell you, been on the planet a fair amount of decades at this point, closing in on my seventh decade. And one of the things that I know for sure, life's pretty simple. It's like a boomerang. Whatever you put out into the world is coming back at you. If you're busy putting out nastiness, meanness, and that kind of stuff, don't be surprised when the world is nasty and mean right back to you. But if you're being kind, funny, loving, giving, caring, all those positive things, it's all going to come back to you as sure as the sun rises and sets every day. So as a leader, what are you focused on giving? Who are you focused on giving to? Are you giving every day? And remember, it doesn't cost you anything to smile at somebody, pat somebody on the back, give somebody a hug, appreciate somebody, hold the door open for somebody. It doesn't cost anything, but you have no idea whose life you could change just by showing them some kindness, some love, and expecting nothing in return. So that's my message headed into this holiday season, and specifically around Thanksgiving, which is going to be a couple weeks away by the time you hear this recording. So thank you for the listen and share it. And this is one of my favorite messages and probably my favorite single podcast I've done to date. So I'd ask that you share this with everybody you know, because I really believe we have the power to shift the trajectory of the world and the future. And we simply do that by being love, giving love all day long, everywhere we go. So I love you guys. Thanks for showing up today to watch this.
Thanks again for joining us and listening to this episode of Leadership and Love. I would like to challenge you to ask yourself, what's one thing that you heard today that you can implement immediately to improve your leadership and accelerate your growth? If you've gotten value out of this episode or learned something that you can implement today, we'd ask that you please share it with those that you care about. Our goal is to create more leaders who are leading with love.